All right, everybody. I am going to talk a little bit about another professional wrestler, and that is Scott Hall. Of course, we all know Scott Hall from his days WCW, probably the heyday of his career, obviously, in the NWO, along with Kevin Nash, Hogan, Steiner, those guys. Really kind of fueled the Attitude Era. They were part of that really just skyrocketed wrestling at that particular time. And he got his start. Well, mainly built his status in wrestling as Razor Ramon, of course, in the WWF as well. But really took off in the WCW. When they were battling WWF. Every Monday. It was Monday Nitro versus, Monday Night Raw, that kind of thing. But Scott really fell on some hard times. A lot of you guys know that there was a big ESPN special on him, all kinds of issues. He was addicted to opiates and benzos. Actually, I didn't know this too, that in 1983, Scott was actually charged with murder. He actually wrestled a guy to the ground, took his gun, and shot him with the gun. But he was, the charges were dropped. It was ruled self-defense. Scott's been charged with groping an older lady in a bar, I believe. He's been in numerous incidents outside the ring. Actually attacked a comedian for bringing up the Owen Hart incident, which I can understand. That's a touchy thing. Why a comedian would make fun of that. Comedians really have no scruples half the time, but. Scott Hall, of course, but we all know he fell on hard times. Scott, again, was addicted to opiates. He was a drunk. His son is actually a wrestler. I think his name's Cody Hall, maybe. But another big guy, too. Scott was a big dude back in the beginning of his career. He was really jacked up before he got mainstream popularity. Kind of toned it down a little bit. Scott was the overall package. He was great. With the mic, he was, pretty skilled wrestler, knew what he was doing. And this is Scott today, though, at 58 years old. So he's kind of pulling a Kevin Nash. This is Kevin Nash. I made a video on Kevin. These guys are getting lean and mean. Obviously, they're not going to make wrestling comebacks, but, they're still around the industry, so they want to probably look the part and make a living. This is Jake the Snake Roberts, if you can see this pic on the right. Now, of course, that's Scott Hall in the middle, and Diamond Dallas Page. Now, a lot of these guys, well, these two guys in particular, probably owe their lives to Diamond Dallas Page. Diamond Dallas Page actually opened up his house to these guys. Says a lot about Diamond Dallas Page to help clean these guys up. He actually started a GoFundMe, similar to GoFundMe, where he raised money. He raised $110,000 for Scott Hall to get hip replacement, I believe, and dental work done. So Diamond Dallas Page certainly put his time where his mouth was, probably some of his money as well, in helping these guys. The WWE tried to help Scott Hall as well, more than once, I believe, with the alcohol and drug abuse. Again, he was addicted to opiates and benzos as well. So Scott Hall kind of turned things around. I mean, obviously, he's 58. He's probably 59 now, but here's a pic of him in the hospital. Probably one of the time. And I didn't know this as well, but Scott Hall has a pacemaker and a defib in his chest. So, I mean, he's kind of paid the price for his past lifestyle, but, he's getting back around, living a constructive life. So, it's all great for Scott Hall. Here's another pic. Diamond Dallas Page on the left. That's Jake the Snake on the right, Scott in the middle. I should probably do a story on Diamond Dallas Page. That's pretty cool stuff, man, what he did for these guys. A lot of guys, turned their back on him. Scott Hall, but Diamond Dallas Page did not do that. So props to Diamond Dallas Page. Props to these guys for turning their lives around.